Hello everybody, welcome back to Gyanan. This is the series of 100 things every designer needs to know about people audiobook. How people see. Chapter 3. People identify objects by recognizing patterns. Recognizing patterns help you make quick sense of the sensory input that comes to you every second. Your eyes and brain want to create patterns even if there is no real patterns there. In figure 3.1, you probably see 4 sets of 2 dots each rather than 8 individual dots. You interpret the white space or lack of it as a pattern. Individual cells respond to certain shapes. In 1959, David Hubel and Torsten Wiesel showed that some cells in the visual cortex respond only to horizontal lines. Others respond only to vertical lines. Others respond only to edges, and still others respond only to certain angles. The Geon theory of object recognition. There have been many theories over the years about how we see and recognize objects. An early theory was that the brain has a memory bank that stores millions of objects. And when you see an object, you compare it with all the items in your memory bank until you find the one that matches. But research now suggests that you recognize basic shapes in what you're looking at, and use these basic shapes called geometric icons or geons to identify objects. Irving Biederman came up with the idea of geons in 1985, figure 3.2. It's thought that there are only 24 basic shapes that we recognize. They form the building blocks of all the objects we see and identify. Figure 3.2. Some samples of Biederman's geons. The visual cortex is more active when you're imagining. The visual cortex is more active when you're imagining something than when you are actually perceiving it. Solso 2005. Activity occurs in the same location in the visual cortex, but there is more activity when we imagine. The theory is that the visual cortex has to work harder since the stimulus is not actually present. Key takeaways from Chapter 3. Use patterns as much as possible, since people will automatically be looking for them. Use grouping and white space to create patterns. If you want people to recognize an object, for example an icon, use a simple geometric drawing of the object. This will make it easier to recognize the underlying geons and thus make the object easier and faster to recognize. Favor 2D elements over 3D ones. The eyes communicate what they see to the brain as a 2D object. 3D representations on the screen may actually slow down recognition and comprehension. To be continued. Thank you for watching the video. Like, share, subscribe.